So welcome to eComOne. I'm Mike Shields. I'm Head of Digital PR here at eComOne. You'll notice that I'm not Richard Hill this week, but we'll be talking to Skye Tunks, Senior Growth Manager here at the agency, to find out really how our inner strategies work, how we come up with what we do, and hopefully you'll be able to leave with some advice that you can sort of take on and use within your strategy, or at least know what we're doing here at eComOne. Okay, so without further ado, let's jump into the episode. So hi Skye, and welcome to eComOne.
Thank you. Yeah, I finally made it on. I think we're on the over 100 episodes now, and here I am. So yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Fantastic. I guess the first question I want to ask you is, what does a senior client growth manager do?
Okay, so as an agency, it's a bit of a hybrid role. So I've been in that position, client growth manager and then senior client growth manager for around 2.5 years. And it is a hybrid role between helping the business grow, but then also helping our SEO clients primarily grow. So yeah, it's a bit of a hybrid one. Personally, I do focus more on helping clients grow. I do dabble in a bit of sales and I do really enjoy that. But personally, that's what I enjoy most, is helping our clients grow using various different strategies. And it's really about putting the correct strategy in place, making sure that the client's on board with it and fully understands it, and the whole team that are working on the project or the account are also on board with the strategy, and it's always backed by a lot of data as well. So it's a lot of data, strategy, and then I guess a huge part of my role is communicating with clients. So making sure that clients fully understand what's going on, everything's fully transparent, and they have a really good idea of where they're heading with their SEO.
I guess it's like the ins and outs of like dealing with things that come along as well, like being reactive maybe.
Yeah, sure. So there's a lot of, when I say data analysis, it's not like looking at the data at the start and then not looking at it again after you create your strategy. It's more you look at the data on, even I sometimes look on a daily basis to see what's going on, not just with specific client websites, but their industry in general. So for example, if I've got a client in like the baby clothes industry, I'll always look at that industry and what's going on with competitors and who's coming out on top, and just movements in the baby clothing section in general. Using certain tools like Google Trends is a really good one to use to keep up to date, and just general looking at the news, social media, see what's going on and see if there's anything that's really needs action in that's really important.
That's really interesting. I guess it's just being there at the cutting edge of everything. I guess there's been quite a lot of uncertainty within e-commerce over the last few years, really. We've dealt with inflation, we've got war in Ukraine, we've got, the cost of living crisis because of all this. How do you think your clients have coped with that?
Yeah, so I think there is a massive one that you've missed out there, which is COVID-19 obviously had a huge impact on e-commerce and the e-commerce world, and that is a worldwide thing that's happened. What we noticed is, of course, a massive peak throughout COVID, and the struggle has been maintaining that revenue that they saw. I think it's difficult as a business owner to do really, really well for not just a month or 2 months, but even a couple of years, and then slowly see that sort of trend going downwards and sort of a lack of revenue year on year, I guess, for your website. So I guess coping with that is knowing that firstly and accepting that that was a thing, and everyone went online to purchase, shops opened back up and less people were going online. So I think it's accepting that you will see a slight dip, but there's a lot of, what I've noticed is a lot of clients are reaching out externally to people more for advice. So like a lot of my clients come to me and ask me what my opinion is and what trends I'm seeing, and of course go to other agencies and other external people of the business and get their advice as well. I've also noticed a lot of funding going on. So I think it is important to know that grants are available more locally, I guess, more like council-wise grants, but that's really helped a few of my clients, has been getting those grants and using those grants really purposefully and making sure that they're using any kind of investment in the best possible way. So this can be for all kinds of things, depending on what the grant is. But for example, if you would like to invest in SEO and that's not something you've previously done, you could probably get a grant for that specifically and grow that way. So there's a lot of different sort of channels to explore. I've also noticed that people seem to be exploring more marketing channels than usual. So primarily, for example, pre this economic crisis, they were just focused on, for example, Google Ads or Google Shopping. Now a lot more people are sort of adventuring out into what else can drive revenue for their business, whether that be SEO, email marketing, PR. So yeah, there's been a lot more, I guess, inquiries around what other services we can offer.
Excellent. So I guess like focusing on SEO, have there been any trends in the last 6 months that you've noticed and that you've seen do really well?
I guess an ongoing trend that I've noticed, so I've been in the SEO world for nearly 10 years, which is insane. And one of the trends I've noticed, not just over the last 6 months, but for a long time, is how SEO has now changed from trying to keep the search engine happy to trying to keep the user happy. So previously, if you're in the SEO world, you'll know about things like keyword stuffing and paying for thousands of backlinks and things like that. And we did that to keep Google happy. And now, more recently, or in the last couple of years especially, it's all become user first and user focused. So we no longer optimize for the search engine, but we optimize for the user. So I think that's a massive thing to consider when you are doing SEO strategies or working on a website's SEO, is never think, will Google like this, but think, will the user like this? Because that's now how search engines also think. Yeah, and I guess I can't really say what's happened in the last 6 months without mentioning AI, because it's been a massive factor. And every talk, every presentation I've been to in the last 6 months has always mentioned AI and what that looks like in the SEO world. And we have introduced it as an agency, actually. So we are using it, we are on board with it. But one thing that we advise to never do is just use AI meaninglessly and just copy and paste from AI. I think it's really great more for inspiration, more for ideas. For example, if you write a lot of content, don't get an AI tool to write the content, but more use it for content outlines and any supporting keywords that you might want to put in your content. So yeah, who knows what's going to happen with AI, because it's already developed massively in the last 6 months. So in 6 months' time, no doubt it will develop even more. But I think that's something to make sure you're on top of and not avoid. I think it can be quite a scary thing, and a lot of people try to avoid it. But it's important to keep on top of it, and especially if your competitors are using AI and things like that, it's really great for mainly streamlining work and making sure that you're spending your hours and your time on more like strategy and data and actually writing things than coming up with content outlines and things like that, and keyword research and little niggly things that are needed for SEO.
Definitely. I think it's using it intelligently as well, isn't it? Like making sure that you're not just kind of copying and pasting entire chunks of things that it's created. You're actually looking at what it sort of outputs and using that in a really intelligent way within your strategies. So
absolutely.
Yeah, that's a really good answer, I think. Are there any mistakes that you see that SEO people are making, or clients making, or kind of in the SEO world?
Yeah, I think the biggest mistake I see, I talk about data a lot because that is, like I mentioned at the very start, that is a lot of my role. But the biggest mistake I see is people that have done an SEO strategy that is not backed on data. So they'll kind of research on Google how to do SEO and it will probably come up as a moz.com article, no doubt, or an Ahrefs article. And it'll kind of bullet point, do this, do that, do this. And people will just take that and just follow it step by step. But the one thing that they're missing massively is looking at previous data and developing your strategy based on what that data is saying. And not only looking at the data, but making sure the data you have set up is accurate. So, for example, if you've got Google Analytics running and set up, you might think, well, I'm collecting all my data there, but actually something's not tracking properly, or you're double tracking conversions. And that's a massive issue that we see because, we always like to back things with data. So it's important that it's there. So the things that I would recommend using and making sure is set up correctly are things like especially Google Analytics or GA4, they now call it, and Google Search Console. They're two really good tools. Another little side one would be Microsoft Clarity, which was just released in November last year. And it's like a heat mapping screen recording tool. So that's more for like the user experience side. So yeah, to wrap that up, I guess the mistake I see is lack of data analysis before creating a strategy.
Yeah, it's almost like going in blind, isn't it? It's a really sort of risky thing to kind of sort of embark on. Yeah. So like SEO can be really complex for a lot of people. It can kind of throw a lot of people off with how many different things you're doing on and off page and all the little like meta descriptions, and it can seem like hieroglyphics to a lot of people, especially like small business owners or MDs of larger sort of e-commerce sort of platforms. So what can kind of give them confidence in their strategy from an SEO professional's perspective?
So I recently just completed a whole course that mentioned a lot about this actually, and it's how to show business owners and MDs the benefit of SEO, because a lot of the times they don't really want to know all the niggly things. They don't want to know, okay, you've got 2,000 missing meta descriptions. They're not really that bothered. They want to know how much it's going to cost and what return they're going to get from it. So the easiest way to talk to a business owner about SEO and show the benefit is simply going from like a revenue level of it, because money's very important. And even when I look at data, one of the first things I look at is revenue. So I guess it's important to communicate very clearly and in a very simple way. If you invest this much, this is how much you're going to get back from it. And with SEO, that's a very difficult thing. So it's not like paid ads where you can invest a budget and you know kind of what it's going to generate.
Yeah.
But we can do what we call SEO forecasting. So it's quite a new thing. And we can basically plug all of your data in and forecast where you'll be in 6 to 12 months' time based on all of your previous data. Again, that's why data is very important to have that up and running. But that really has been great to show business owners and MDs a very simple graph of this is where you are, this is where you'll be without SEO investment, and this is where you'll be with SEO investment, depending on different budgets. So that's been really helpful as well. But I think it really varies depending on what business owner you're talking to, because some will want all the details, all the niggly bits, like the 2,000 meta descriptions, they'll want to know that. But some will literally just want to know how much am I going to get back? Where's my money going and when am I going to earn it back kind of thing. So it's important to be aware of what people want to know in the first place and then adjust based on that.
At the end of the day, they're about making money, aren't they? You know, we're here to sort of like help their bottom line improve, you know, so I guess that's part of it. So in terms of what we do here at eComOne, I think it's quite interesting that we've got a strategy that kind of spells out what we get, how we get to know a client, how we sort of action sort of things that will make that needle move. One thing that we've introduced is the catalyst strategy, which is, I think, really interesting, and I've been part of that. What's it actually involve? It's to do with category pages, but really, I guess we're looking at like, why are we focusing on category pages in general?
Sure. So this kind of loops back to the whole user experience thing and no longer optimizing pages for Google, but the user. So what this catalyst framework is essentially reformatting category pages to include extra content. But what we never want to do is push all them products down the page. The whole idea is to sell more products. So we never want to push products down the page. So the way we've been formatting category pages with this new strategy is adding a read more button, and that will either expand the content for those that want to read more, or it'll drop you to the bottom of the page where there's loads more information. So the idea behind that is it gives people the option. If they want to know more, then they can, but if they don't, then they can just kind of scroll past it. So that's one feature that we would recommend implementing. There's also I think one of the biggest things when it comes to Catalyst is FAQs. So we've seen really great results with adding bespoke FAQs to each category page. And not only does this get you picked up for more informational search terms, but you can also wrap what we call FAQ schema in the SEO world around it. And then that will allow you to be featured at the top of Google as like a featured snippet. So when you search question in Google, kind of a recent in the last couple of years thing where the answer pops up, so it allows for that as well, which really increases your impression share on page 1 and drives a lot more clicks through to your content pages and category pages. I won't reel off absolutely every little element that we do, but there's things like internal linking, so linking up blogs and guides. And the whole idea behind it, the bottom line, is to inform the customer as much as possible before they purchase, which again is all around making sure the customer's happy, they're content, and it's a huge trust factor as well. So if you're selling tents, for example, we've got a client that we've implemented this on called Valley and Peak, and they sell outdoor gear and tents and sleeping bags. And if you hit their category page for one man tent and it's got all the FAQs there, all the information, you're more likely to trust that they're experts in their field. So you're more likely to purchase from them. So there's kind of a whole array of benefits that go into it, but I would recommend rolling that out because it's kind of reformat your category pages, add your FAQs, and then you will see results. So for Valley and Peak, for example, we shifted their keyword one man tent up 86 positions on Google within 2 weeks.
Kind of speaks for itself, really, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's quite a high volume search term. So there's kind of all different examples I can give and case studies. But yeah, I think Valley and Peak is a good one to have a look at.
Yeah, really good shining example of kind of where we've really gone in and kind of gone, right, okay, what are people looking for? Can we answer those questions? Can we be that person, that expert that they can go to? It keeps people on page. It makes them more interested. It might make them look at other blogs and things. So it's a journey, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Basically. Yeah. That's great. So sort of looking to the future, what do you think that e-commerce companies should be looking at in the next 12 months?
I think keep on top with trends. So no one can really predict the future. I would love to be able to. It would make my job so much easier so I could do strategies and things like that. But you've just got to keep on top of trends and make sure that you know what's going on in your industry. If you are a business owner or say even a marketing manager for a company in-house, you're involved in that industry on a daily basis and you're kind of surrounded by people in the same industry. So reach out to people, have a chat, see what they're experiencing, external people to your business, and just make sure that you, again, use Google Trends that can kind of predict what people are going to be searching for and seasonality. But I think it's just the user-first approach again. So if you've got a website, set up heat mapping, set up Microsoft Clarity, and make sure that users can navigate around that website and check out very easily. I think a big trend going forward is how lazy we're all becoming when it comes to online shopping.
Yeah.
So we want to be able to purchase a product within a click and not have to go through 5 pages of checkout. And there are tools that you can implement on your website where it is literally from the category page. It's a one click. It uses your Apple information. So I think it's currently just with Apple Pay, but it uses your Apple information with your address and everything. And you literally double tap your phone and you've purchased the product. No need to put in, no address needed, no name, nothing. It just uses it all. So I think that's a huge thing, is making it as easy as possible as people are getting more and more lazy with online shopping to purchase and receive a product.
Yeah. Go with the customer, go with UX, go with what they're searching for.
100%.
Makes loads of sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I just wanted to introduce you very quickly to our sponsors, Pricing. Now, Pricing is a competitive price tracking and monitoring software that can dynamically change a product's prices on all sales channels. They work with brands such as Samsung, Sony, Suzuki to increase their online revenue. Now, if you run Google Shopping, which I know a lot of you absolutely do, this software is absolutely key to accelerating profits. One of the reasons I recommend Pricing to my clients is because you can find out your competitors' pricing and stock availability all in one simple to understand dashboard, giving you a huge competitive advantage. Now, if you have any inquiries and questions about this software, or you're ready to get cracking, we have worked out a very, very special deal for our listeners where you can get a free month's trial and then 25% off for the first 3 months. Head to eComOne.com pricing and complete the inquiry form, and we will connect our listeners to the Pricing team. Right, let's head straight back to the episode.
So some companies might not trust SEO agencies, there might be a reputation out there for some that might just using black hat tricks from years ago and, we'll write a few blogs and that's kind of our service. So why do you think people trust us so much, and why do you think we've got like the tools to kind of make it happen?
Well, I'm not saying we're the longest ever running agency, but we have been an agency for 13 years, I believe, coming up 13 years. So we have a lot of knowledge over the last 13 years. And there's people in the business that started 13 years ago that are still with us now. So they have built up all that knowledge. And we always say to clients that we're not an external agency. We're almost like an extra arm for your business. So treat us as if we are in-house, like we're here to help you. And I think when it comes to the whole trust thing, it's a lot of people that come to us have been burnt in the past by agencies, because the thing that gets mentioned a lot is about talking gibberish and they don't understand and reports don't make sense. So I think reporting is a massive thing when it comes to clients understanding the transparency of the work we're doing. And the amount of people that have come to us and said, I don't understand my reports, it's just a load of content that doesn't make sense. And it's important to communicate with different business owners and market managers in the way that they understand. And that helps build trust. We're just very transparent in every single thing we do. So we're not saying that things always go perfectly for clients. Sometimes things don't go so great, but it's being very open with them, coming up with a solution and next steps and a really great strategy in place with the whole team involved. And that's how they learn to trust us, I think, is just being totally transparent. Even when it comes to like workload, every single document we work on is available for the client to view. It's
unusual, isn't it? That's not something everyone does.
Yeah, and it's even got timestamps on it. So the client, if they really wanted to, can go in and see when we last edited a document, which I think it's just a whole mix of things in general that really allow clients to trust us and come on board with us.
That's brilliant. Yeah, I think it is a lot about trust, and it's a lot about kind of just having that confidence, like going back to that question, just like having okay, I've got all this in front of me. I can actually see what they're up to and where they're going and where they're going to take us. And like, again, like you said, like just being honest when it doesn't go well, say, right, why hasn't it? Let's move on and make it good. Let's make this a success. That's brilliant. So we always ask people for a book recommendation at the end of the podcast.
I knew this was coming.
Our managing director, Richard Hill, he very much believes in like improving your knowledge and kind of just like life advice in general. So which book would you like sort of focus in on if you're going to give people like a recommendation?
Okay, so I'm not actually a huge reader. Okay, so I will say that. I do like the odd book, but I'm more of like a fictional kind of girl. So one book that I would recommend, which has been very helpful for me, is Presentation book by Emma Ledden. And that sounds really dull and boring. Like, I don't want to read about presentations, but I said I'm not much of a reader, and I really managed to get into that one because it's very simple. That makes me seem like such a simple girl, but it is very simple and easy to understand, and it's almost like bullet pointed. And if you do a lot of public speaking, or you even just putting presentations together for, I don't know, to present to your MD or present to the rest of the team or even clients, then it's got some really great tips in there on how to like overcome fear and what needs to be included and how to format. And that's been really helpful for me when presenting and doing public speaking.
Yeah, because it's almost like an unknown. I think a lot of people get thrown into that sort of thing, don't they? And it's like, right, okay, I'm a deer in the headlights. What do I do? You know, do you read off the slides? No. Do you, you know, do you sort of like shuffle your papers a lot? No. It's like, okay, be focused. Do it in a strategic way so you're absolutely ready for it. So yeah, I can see how that would help.
It's a scary thing to do, like presenting. I think for anyone, I know some people love it, some people don't, but it's still a scary thing for anyone to do. And it really helps kind of calm your nerves, that book, and makes you realise, okay, it's not that deep. I know what I'm saying. I know now how to present it. So yeah, it helps me when I'm feeling a little bit nervous about a presentation to overcome that fear a little bit. So yeah, I do recommend that book. There's a few more that I've got stuck into. Atomic Habits is really great as well.
We're all big fans of that, aren't we?
Yeah, Henry, our head of operations, loves that book. He's just done a presentation on it to the team. But yeah, I would go with the presentation one as a kind of a quick, basic read to improve your knowledge.
That's great. Thanks for that. And thanks for being on the podcast this week.
Thank you. It's my debut, kind of. So I've really enjoyed it.
Very well done. So if you like what you've heard today and you want to hear more, we're actually holding an e-commerce masterclass day on the 17th of January up at Lincoln Cathedral. We'll be talking about digital PR, PPC, SEO and a lot more besides, so join us there.